The woman they refused to let into the boardroom. The first time I walked into my husband's company, no one recognized me. That wasn't surprising. For 6 years, I had deliberately stayed away from the spotlight. I didn't attend company parties unless Daniel begged me. I didn't pose beside him for business magazines. I never introduced myself as the wife of the founder. And whenever someone asked what I did, I simply said, I take care of things at home. I never imagined that one ordinary Tuesday morning, those choices would come back to test the character of almost everyone in that building, especially the woman sitting behind the reception desk. My name is Evelyn Carter, and that morning, I was wearing a faded brown dress, flat sandals, and a scarf I'd owned for years. My husband, Marcus Carter, was supposed to give a presentation to the company's board that afternoon, but at 6:15 that morning, everything changed. Marcus woke me by calling my name, Evelyn. His voice sounded strange. I turned toward him and immediately knew something was wrong. His face was pale. One hand was pressed against his chest, and sweat covered his forehead. What's happening? I don't know, he whispered. I feel terrible. I helped him sit up. For the next 20 minutes, I watched the strongest man I knew struggle just to stand. The doctor later told us that Marcus had suffered a severe exhaustion-related episode combined with dangerously high blood pressure. He needed complete rest. No meetings, no driving, no work, at least for several days. Marcus hated the idea. The board meeting is today, he said from the bed. You are not going. They're expecting me. They can expect you next week. He looked at me. You know what that meeting means? I did. For months, Marcus had been preparing to make a major decision about the future of his company. A company he had started 15 years earlier from a tiny rented office. A company that had grown from 3 employees to almost 400. A company that now had investors, directors, executives, and people who sometimes acted as though Marcus had inherited the business instead of building it from nothing. I'll send the medical report, I said. I already told my assistant. Then I'll take the original documents to the office. Marcus hesitated. You've never been there. I know. I mean, you've never actually gone inside. I smiled. I've been married to you for 6 years. I think I can survive your reception desk. He laughed weakly. Then he became serious. Just be careful. Why? Because people there don't know you. I shrug. Then they'll know me today. I picked up the folder containing his medical documents, his signed leave request, and a letter for the board. Then I left. I had no idea that by lunchtime, the entire company would be talking about me. The headquarters was enormous. Glass walls, security gates, polished floors. A massive silver sign displayed the company's name across the lobby. I parked my old sedan beside a row of expensive cars and walked toward the entrance. Inside, employees moved quickly. Everyone looked important. Everyone looked busy. And nobody looked twice at me. I walked toward the reception desk. A young woman was sitting there. Her nameplate read, Amelia Grant Executive Reception. She was dressed perfectly. Hair neatly styled. Expensive-looking watch. Perfect makeup. She was speaking quietly to someone on her headset when I approached. I waited. She continued talking. I waited another 30 seconds. Finally, she looked at me. Yes, I need to deliver some documents to the executive office. You have an appointment? No. She looked at my folder. Then you can't go upstairs. I don't need to go upstairs. I just need someone from the executive office to receive these. Who are you delivering them to? Marcus Carter. She stopped. Then she looked at me again. Marcus Carter. Yes, the Marcus Carter. I nodded. The founder. That's right. She stared at my clothes, then at my shoes, then back at my face. Something changed in her expression. Not surprise? Suspicion. Do you have identification? I handed her my driver's license. She barely looked at it. Are you related to Mr. Carter? I'm his wife. She actually laughed. Not loudly. Just enough to make the 2 security guards nearby glance over. I'm sorry, she said. His wife. Yes. Mrs. Carter. Yes. She leaned back in her chair. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to understand something. I waited. Mr. Carter's wife is known to this company. I smiled faintly. Apparently not. She ignored my comment. I've seen photographs of her. Have you? Yes. And you don't look like her. I stared at her. There are moments when someone says something so ridiculous that you don't immediately know how to respond. This was one of those moments. Finally, I asked, "What exactly does she look like?" Amelia folded her arms. "Elegant." I looked down at my faded dress. "Anything else?" "Well dressed." "I see." "Confident." I smiled. "Interesting." She lowered her voice. "Mrs. Carter attends charity events. She appears in newspapers. She's been photographed with Mr. Carter. That must be someone else." Amelia frowned. "Are you saying the newspapers have the wrong woman?" "No." "Then you're saying you're his wife?" "I've been saying that for the last 5 minutes." She shook her head. "I can't allow you upstairs." "I didn't ask to go upstairs." "Then leave the documents here." "Fine." I placed the folder on the counter. She didn't pick it up. Instead, she asked, "How did you get these?" "My husband gave them to me." "Can you prove that?" "How would you like me to prove it?" "Call him." "I don't want to wake him." "Then call his assistant." "I don't have her number." "You expect me to believe that?" At that moment, one of the security guards approached. "Is there a problem?" Amelia pointed toward me. "She says she's Mr. Carter's wife." The guard looked at me, then at Amelia, then back at me. I could see the uncertainty on his face. I wasn't angry at him. He didn't know me. But Amelia had already decided what I was. A woman trying to sneak into an executive building. A nobody pretending to be somebody. She pushed the folder back toward me. "Take this with you." "I can't." "Why?" "Because my husband needs those documents delivered today. Then he can send someone properly authorized." I took a breath. "Can I speak to the board secretary?" "No." "The chief operating officer?" "No." "Anyone from HR?" "Man, you're wasting our time." That sentence hurt more than it should have. Not because I felt important. Because I realized she had decided that my time was worthless. I picked up the folder. "All right." Amelia smiled. "I think that's best." I turned to leave. Then I stopped. I looked back at her. "Before I go, can I ask you one question?" "What?" "If a cleaner walked in here with an important document, would you treat her the same way?" Amelia rolled her eyes. "Of course." "And if she arrived in a luxury car?" "I'd still follow procedure." "Good." I nodded. "Then I hope you really mean that." I walked away, but I didn't leave the building. Instead, I sat on a bench near the lobby and called my husband. He answered after the 3rd ring. "Did you deliver the documents?" "No." Silence. "What happened?" I told him everything. Marcus became very quiet. Then he said something I hadn't expected. "Don't leave." "Marcus, please, don't leave yet." "Why?" "Because I'm coming." I almost laughed. "You were supposed to be resting." "I know." "You can't drive." "I won't." 20 minutes later, the private elevator opened. Several senior executives stepped out, and behind them was Marcus. He looked terrible. Pale. Weak. One hand held the wall for support. The entire lobby changed instantly. Employees who had been talking suddenly became silent. Amelia stood up so quickly that her chair rolled backward. "Mr. Carter." Marcus didn't answer her. His eyes went straight to me. "Evelyn." I walked toward him. "What are you doing here?" He ignored my question. "Did they give you trouble?" I looked at Amelia, then back at him. "I couldn't get the documents delivered." Marcus turned toward the reception desk. "Why?" Amelia's face had lost all its confidence. "Sir, I didn't know she was." "She's my wife." The words echoed across the lobby. Nobody moved. Marcus continued. "She's Evelyn Carter." Amelia swallowed. "Sir, I apologize." I thought. "You thought she was lying." "No, sir." "You told her she didn't look like my wife." Amelia said nothing. Marcus looked around the lobby. Then he said something that made everyone uncomfortable. "My wife doesn't need to look wealthy to be my wife." Silence. He walked toward the reception desk. "She doesn't need a designer handbag." Another step. "She doesn't need an expensive car." Another. "She doesn't need to be photographed in magazines." He stopped in front of Amelia. "And she certainly doesn't need your permission to exist in this building." Amelia's eyes filled with tears. "Mr. Carter, I'm sorry." Marcus looked at the folder in my hands. "Give it to me." I handed it over. He opened it. His expression changed. Then he looked at me. "Did you read the board letter?" "No." "Good." He turned toward the executives. "Because I have something to tell all of you." Everyone became tense. Marcus had not come to the building just to defend me. He had come because the board meeting was about to expose something I hadn't known. We went upstairs. For the first time in 6 years, I entered my husband's executive office. I stopped at the doorway. It was enormous. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. There were awards on the shelves, photographs of Marcus with politicians, investors, and business leaders. But what caught my attention was a framed photograph sitting behind his desk. It was a picture of us, taken years ago. We were sitting on the floor of our first apartment, eating noodles from plastic containers. I laughed when I saw it. "You kept this?" "Of course." Then he turned serious. "The board wants to remove 2 directors. Why?" "Because they've been secretly approving contracts with companies they own." I stared at him. "You're serious?" "Very. And today's meeting was about that." "Yes." He looked at the folder. "That's why I needed the medical documents. I planned to postpone the meeting. But you're here." "Because after what happened downstairs, I realized something." "What?" Marcus looked toward the glass walls surrounding his office. "This company has grown so much that some people have forgotten what it was built on." I said nothing. He continued. "I built it because I wanted people to be treated fairly." Then he looked at me. "And yet my own employee looked at your clothes and decided you weren't worthy of respect?" I touched his arm. "Don't punish everyone because of one person." "I won't." He smiled. "But I am changing something." That afternoon, Marcus called an emergency meeting. Not just with executives. Everyone was invited. Receptionists, security guards, managers, assistants, cleaners, everyone. He stood at the front of the conference room, still visibly sick. I sat in the back. He didn't introduce me as his wife at first. Instead, he told them a story. He told them about the woman who had entered the building that morning wearing an old dress. He told them how she had been ignored, how she had been questioned, how someone had decided she couldn't possibly belong there because of her appearance. Then he turned toward me. "This woman," he said, "was my wife." The room became silent. Marcus continued. "But that's not the important part." He looked around. "The important part is this. What if she wasn't my wife?" Nobody moved. What if she was a delivery driver? What if she was a cleaner? What if she was someone's mother? What if she was a young woman coming for her first job interview? Would that make her deserve less respect? No one answered. Marcus shook his head. "Respect isn't something you give to people because they're powerful." He paused. "Respect is something you give because you're human." Then he announced a new company policy. Every employee would receive customer service and dignity training. Every visitor would be treated with the same basic courtesy. And no employee would ever again be judged by appearance when requesting assistance. But he wasn't finished. He turned toward Amelia. "Amelia." She stood. "Yes, sir." "Come forward." She walked to the front with tears in her eyes. Marcus didn't fire her. Instead, he asked her one question. "Do you understand what you did wrong?" She nodded. "I judged her before I knew her." "Why?" "Because of how she looked." Marcus nodded. "That's the answer I wanted." Amelia turned toward me. "I am truly sorry." I looked at her. The easiest thing would have been to humiliate her, to remind everyone how badly she had treated me. But I didn't. I simply said, "I accept your apology." She started crying. "Thank you." Then something unexpected happened. The security guard from the lobby stepped forward. "Mr. Carter." "Yes, I owe Mrs. Carter an apology too." He looked at me. I should have stepped in. I smiled. "You didn't know." But I should have asked what happened before assuming anything. Marcus nodded. "That's exactly the lesson." Months passed. Amelia remained at the company. But she changed. I heard stories about her helping elderly visitors, walking nervous job applicants to the correct office, and even stopping executives when they spoke disrespectfully to junior staff. One afternoon, she came to our house. She brought a small gift. "I wanted to give you this personally." I opened it. Inside was a simple wooden plaque. It read, "Everyone deserves respect before they prove their worth." I smiled. "You didn't have to do this." "I know." She looked at me. "But I wanted to." Marcus came into the room. He was healthy again. Amelia smiled. "Mr. Carter." Marcus nodded. Then she said something that made us both laugh. "I still think Mrs. Carter should wear that old dress again someday." I raised an eyebrow. Why? Because it taught me the most expensive lesson I've ever learned. We laughed. Years later, that plaque still hangs in our home. Not because it reminds me that I was secretly married to a wealthy CEO. It reminds me of something much more important. There will always be people who judge you before knowing your story. Some will look at your clothes. Some will look at your car. Some will look at your job. Some will decide your value by the people standing beside you. But your worth was never determined by any of those things. And sometimes, the person standing quietly in front of you may be carrying a story you know absolutely nothing about. So be careful how you treat people when you think they cannot help you. Be kind when nobody important is watching. Because character isn't revealed by how we treat people who can reward us. Character is revealed by how we treat people we believe have nothing to offer us. And that Tuesday morning, I walked into my husband's company looking like nobody important. I walked out knowing something far more valuable. I didn't need anyone in that building to recognize me. I only needed to remember who I was. Enjoyed this story? Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more emotional, dramatic and unforgettable stories. Your support means so much to me.